Hi everyone, Simon from High Playing Games. Hope you're well, and welcome to round 3 of my F1 23 no upgrade season. Now, it's going to be a very chaotic Melbourne Grand Prix, having just driven this immediately onto the replay because I'm on PS5 and there's no full race replay save. Grr. However, let's take a look at the grid before we get going, and it's Charles Leclerc on pole. Oh yes, Ferrari looking good. Sandwiching a Max Verstappen, who's in second, Sainz in third. Hamilton is the best Mercedes in fourth. The two McLarens, fifth and sixth, looking quite good, ahead of Alonso in the Aston Martin. The two Alpines, 8th and 9th, looking quite decent, with Hulkenberg sneaking into the top 10 for Haas. But he didn't really, and that's because we've got Albon in 11, Stroll 12, Bottas and Zhou 13, 14. Sergio Perez took a grid penalty of, I believe, 10 places, which dropped him down to 15th. George Russell is 16th on the grid, but it seems to be through time rather than anything else. So I don't know what happened in Q2 because I got knocked out in Q1, but it was going dry to wet to dry, and I wonder if Russell just didn't do a lap and it was one of those ones where the AI just sits there and doesn't do anything at the right time. Then it's Tsunoda, Magnussen, myself in a banzai effort to get 19th ahead of Sergeant de Vries and Dennis Hauger. As I say, it was one of those dry, wet, dry sessions, and I got in 3 hot laps in the time that everyone else just did the one, which enabled me to get 19 because I knew it was going to be wet and then I wasn't going to be able to improve. So cheeky me, but it worked. So 58 laps of complete and utter carnage ahead of you. This will be some of my finest and least finest driving. Anyway, taking it away from me and onto the race itself. Leclerc versus Verstappen down into turn 1. What's going to happen? Let's find out. Five lights are on. And we're off and away at the Australian Grand Prix. Looks like one of the McLarens trying to dart out. A Haas has got off to a very good start in the midfield there, Hulkenberg, I believe. And it's Leclerc holding the way from the Sainz versus Verstappen, diving round further back. Looks like Russell's had a poor start and dropped down to 17th. But is Verstappen going to get back past Sainz into turn 3? Yes, he is. Hamilton, Piastri, Norris, Albon up into a superb 8th. Then it's Gasly, Hulkenberg, Zhou's driven up to 11th. Great start by him. Ocon, Stroll, Smith up to 14th somehow. Then it's Bottas, Perez and Russell have both made poor starts, but I believe they're on medium tyres. In fact, quite a few people seem to be at the middle of the field. Sargent bringing up the rear. But it's a great start by Leclerc, who's off and away on the soft tyres. Sainz on the mediums though in third. That could be useful. Hards, is that for Hamilton in fourth? Wow, that's a bit of a bold one. Then it's Piastri, Norris, Alonso and Albon, and a huge gap back to Gasly, and that's a broken front wing. Gasly's hit someone somewhere along the line, and the entire field is kind of bunched up right behind him as they bottleneck through. The McLaren's battling over 5th and 6th. Everyone seems okay up front. Now you can see the different tyre compounds as they all go through. Alonso on hards as well. And I think, is that going to be Gasly peeling into the pits potentially? Yes, he is. Pierre Gasly in at the end of lap 1 for a front wing. Anyone else following through? Because it was a bit of a frantic start. No, it looks like it's okay. But it is Charles Leclerc then from Verstappen, Sainz, Hamilton, Norris, Piastri, Alonso, Albon, Hulkenberg up to 9th in the Haas. Great start for him. Ocon 10, Zhou into 11 then, Stroll, Smith 13th in the back marker brigade. We've never seen one that high, and he's on mediums. Then let's look at the back. That's Perez and Russell having a squabble, and that's Magnussen trying to get round Tsunoda, but Tsunoda fights him off in the AlphaTauri versus the Haas towards the back end of the field. De Vries, Hauger and Sargent round out your field, and there is Gasly back on track again with soft tyres, clear air, but unfortunately that's a very early stop. Now, tyre wear is seemingly quite high around this circuit by the looks of it, but it looks like we're getting into various different battles due to the different tyre compounds that we've got on. So Leclerc and Verstappen dragging Sainz along on mediums is looking very good if that's the medium tyres versus everyone else. Hamilton on hards though is starting to bottle up the rest of the field. Now you can see now that they're free of the broken... Oh, that looks problematic, as that is Perez versus Smith. Smith there jinking out a bit juicy on the throttle, and that looks like Perez is going to go around the outside, take 14th. I thought Russell was going to go for 15. Ooh, in fact, I think he may well do, as Smith runs in very deep, manages to hold off around one corner, then the other. Down the straight we go, and I think it's going to stay 15-16 for now, but it wouldn't surprise me if Russell's able to pull out and have a go at that Mercedes down into turn 1 versus the back marker brigade car. Ooh, that was a bit more fighty than I thought that was going to be. Magnussen and Tsunoda taking a look at Russell, but I think Russell's going to have him down into turn 3 round the outside, perhaps. Yes, he is. So George Russell there up to 13th, 15th, Smith down to 16, then it's Magnussen, Tsunoda, De Vries, Sargent, Hauger, there's Gasly making his way around the back of the circuit into turn 1 as Leclerc now under pressure from Max Verstappen. He's caught up onto the back. We're on lap 3 of 58 now, DRS is enabled. And this is going to basically start what will be a huge run of catch-up going on across the whole field. And there we go, Verstappen going straight down into turn 13 to have a go at Leclerc. Down the inside, they're side by side into 14. Leclerc gets it back again. It looked juicy further back as well with Norris versus Hamilton. Different tyre compounds going on there, but with these two battling on soft tyres, this is just allowing Carlos Sainz to hang on in the background. This is putting Sainz into a great position as they cross the line. 1, 2, 3, Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari, Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz. Hamilton holding off the McLarens with Alonso and Albon hanging on in behind there. Everyone else seems to be not too bad further back. Doesn't look like there's going to be any changes there. And again, that lead trio really starting to pull away now with Hamilton holding up everyone else. Hülkenberg the best of the midfield, which seems to be a ginormous long line all the way back again. As that's a change of position. Now it's Magnussen that's got past Smith somewhere along the line. And Smith now down into 17th. But everyone else seemingly okay. Leclerc though under pressure. That first DRS back straight puts you onto the back of the person you're attacking, and then this one lets you sign up for a lunge down at turn 13. Verstappen tried it last time and it didn't work. He's tried it again, but he's left Leclerc just enough room, and I think he's going to do the same thing and go around the outside, but it's side by side between the two of them. Just about. Leclerc holds off this time. That was closer than before. Norris doing the exact same move, sneaks past Hamilton for 4th and 5th position. That's crucial for the McLaren to get ahead of the hard-tired, shod Mercedes. Now you can see Verstappen thinking about it, having a little jink out, but wasn't able to do anything much about it. So that's Norris, Hamilton, Piastri now all over the back. They're starting to drop Albon a little bit. Hülkenberg's holding up Ocon as Verstappen has another look at Leclerc. Nothing doing there. Norris, Hamilton, Piastri, Alonso. Then in behind, Albon, I think, will be delighted for DRS around everywhere on this track to cling onto the back of that battle. And then look, it's Hülkenberg, Ocon, Zhou, Stroll, Bottas, Perez, Russell, Magnussen. Tsunoda's got ahead of Smith now. De Vries, Sargent and Hauger at the back. Gasly making his way back onto the back of the field slowly but surely. And here we are up for the next round then. What's Verstappen going to do? He's on the grass, nearly looking like he was going to lose it on the DRS down there. And this time, well ahead. That must be a good push there to have got Verstappen well ahead of Leclerc. Sainz now keeping a watching brief in 3rd. Norris, Hamilton, Piastri. Oh, something's going on further back. That's Bottas, I think, in a bit of trouble. Didn't see quite what happened there. Let's take a little bit of a push back. Apologies, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, it was just an overtake. Sorry, it looked like he'd lost multiple positions. Silly me. So yeah, that's just Perez getting around the outside then of Bottas. Both medium shod tyres as well, so useful to know. And that is Smith running out onto the curbs, and I think he's about to be done by Nick De Vries. Indeed he is. Ooh, looks a little bit squirrely there as Sargent and Hauger fancy a go at him. But there you can see already now Verstappen starting to pull away a little bit from the Ferraris, and I wonder if the Ferraris are thinking, is it time to change on lap 6 of 58? McLaren sandwiching Hamilton with Alonso on hard tyres, really keeping a good watching brief, and this is a much better showing from Aston Martin after a good performance in rounds 1 and 2. This one's kind of ended up being a bit dramatic further back. Ooh, something's going on there. That's Hauger's got round Sargent in the battle of the wooden spoon positions. Oh! And there's the big crash at the back of the field between both backmarker brigade cars. What happened there? Let's take a little look. Oh, he's done a Barrichello. That's Simon Smith in the backmarker brigade, runs out wide, skids across, hits the barrier, then kind of bounces back into the way of his teammate again. I don't know if Sargent gets caught up in any of that. Let's dive on board with Dennis Hauger, the innocent party here in the backmarker brigade. Was running 20th when it all happened. Now you can see, yeah, nowhere to go. Lucky there for Smith to still be going. And that is Dennis Hauger out of the race. Big, huge drama there for the backmarker brigade team. Did not need to have that happen. One final look. And I think Sargent's got away with that. Yeah, look at him. He's not got any damage to his front wing. But immediately then, the safety car has been deployed. There is Smith with no front wing. So he's able to keep his car going somehow, despite, like, the big, huge the most biggest damage that's going on. But what does this do? There's so many different tyre strategies out there. Who's going to do what with what? It's only lap 6 of 58. It's very early. Who's coming in? Not Max Verstappen. Neither's Leclerc or Sainz. Norris then into 4. Hamilton, Piastri, Alonso stays out. Albon stays out. Hülkenberg, Ocon, Zhou in 11, medium tyres. Oh, hello. Here comes Sergio Perez into the pits. Has he got a full front wing? Yes, he has. But in he comes. Hard tyres go on the Red Bull racing car. As through goes Bottas, Russell, Magnussen, Tsunoda, De Vries and Sargent. And there comes Perez back out in 19th position. Into the pits comes Simon Smith. Pierre Gasly will get through. Now, Smith has to serve a 5-second penalty for his collision with Dennis Hauger. It was immediately dished out. Can't possibly think why. Then on to soft tyres for the backmarker brigade driver. New front wing goes on. And off and away he goes. But that's a big faux pas there for the backmarker brigade team. The last thing you want to do is take out your teammate, and that's exactly what Simon Smith has just done. So, safety cars out and about. This is really an interesting time because we've got loads of people on different strategies. So we've got Verstappen on soft tyres, as is Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz is on mediums. Lando Norris is on mediums as well, I think. Hamilton hards, Piastri medium, Alonso hard. Then Alexander Albon in the Williams in the soft tyres. This has not worked out well for him. Hülkenberg it has though. It's called him back onto this front pack again. Ocon on mediums as well. I think we'll be pleased with it because he was stuck slightly behind Hülkenberg. Zhou on mediums up onto the back as well. Then it's Stroll and Bottas. Stroll's on hard tyres. So both Aston Martin drivers on hard tyres. So that could play them out really nicely and quite long into this race because whilst all of the other drivers have had the tyre grip and speed of that early grip, that will have now started to have quite heavily faded, and now these hard shod tired Aston Martins could be in box seats for this. Bottas then mediums. Russell I think was on mediums as well and didn't pit, whilst as we saw got some soft shod tired Alpha Tauris and a Williams. But then we've got this Perez. Sat now on hard tyres. He'll be wanting to get himself back up through. Remember, this is the championship leader down in 19th place following 2 wins in the 2 opening rounds there for Sergio Perez. So this is imperative for his championship. With his teammate up front leading the way, this could be a huge pendulum swing for the Red Bull Racing team as Gasly clings onto the back. I don't know if he'll particularly like the fact that he's on soft tyres and last. Or last but one, sorry. Smith now has just joined on the back of the train, just in time for the safety car lights to go out and for us to get racing again. And let's see what happens when the safety car comes in. Okay. Wow, it's been an eventful opening part of the race. Loads of different teams in the points at the moment as well. So let's see how Verstappen drops the hammer. He'll want as much advantage as possible. Immediately there, Carlos Sainz jinking out slightly to have a look at teammate Leclerc, but not a lot going on there, unfortunately, as everyone steams through at the beginning of the flags to go out, and here comes then Sergio Perez, not able to do anything immediately about good old Logan Sargent. And is that Ferrari slowing down? It is. It's Charles Leclerc. Look, smoke coming out the back. Oh, that's caught Piastri unawares. He's into trouble there. And look, everyone's kind of bottling up behind as Charles Leclerc completely conks out. Our pole sitter is out of the race. What does Charles Leclerc have to do anything in this and get a win out of the race on lap 9? And that's created a lovely little gap there for Verstappen. And look, Lando Norris is having a go at Carlos Sainz in the battle of the top medium-tired runner. Has Norris gone round the outside of... He has! What a superb move round the outside of Carlos Sainz to take second position away. Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes and Aston Martin, the top 5 positions, 5 different constructors. An excellent start to the Australian Grand Prix. Everyone, everywhere by the looks of it, absolutely crazy. Piastri, then Hülkenberg now 7, Albon's up to 8, Ocon 9, Stroll in 10 in the Aston Martin ahead of Zhou and Bottas. Then it's Russell, Magnussen, Tsunoda, De Vries. Perez has just got round Sargent, and that looks like Simon Smith's about to get round Sargent as well down into turn 3. Indeed he does, just about. Nice little move there. Of course, he's on fresh softs versus everyone else that's done like 10 laps worth, so he's got a real tyre advantage, and well, him and Perez have got a lot over everyone else. But as Verstappen there pulls well away, Sainz is all over the back of Lando Norris, and as these two are going to squabble, Verstappen's going to try and make hay whilst the sun shines, I think. No DRS just yet, as Alonso 5, Piastri 6. Then it's Hülkenberg, Albon. Stroll's got Zhou all over the back of him. Is Zhou going to have a little go? It looks as if someone else is having a go. It is. It's Carlos Sainz who's gone round the outside of... I think he has. Yeah, let's take another look. It's Sainz. Didn't need DRS this time, and Lando Norris being very respectful, giving him enough room. But Carlos Sainz retakes his second place. Works out very well for him. And that was Sergio Perez there getting round Nick De Vries in the Alpha Tauri. So Perez now up to 16, just a couple of positions behind Russell, who he was battling with before his pit stop. So this seems to be working out for Sergio Perez at the moment. Working out very well indeed as the field makes its way down to turn 1. And that is Simon Smith getting past Nick De Vries as well. So again, this tyre offset really working out well for the back market brigade driver, as Sainz now has a gap over Norris. The problem is with this Melbourne circuit is that it's DRS central, so you need to break the second gap in order to feel safe, and Sainz I don't think has done that. With DRS now back on the table, it's going to be very tricky. Let's see if it goes down. Yes, it does. Look. So Norris has it on Sainz, Hamilton has it on Norris, Alonso does not have it though, so that's allowed Oscar Piastri to get right up onto the back. There's a tyre offset here too, so this could be very crucial. Firstly, let's see, yep, Sainz has got enough of a gap over Norris, and it's Hamilton, but here's Piastri. He's going to do, I think, the famous let's go round the outside move, and it's worked for the McLaren driver up into 5th position. Oh, something's gone on high further. Oh, crikey, look at this. That's Zhou getting round Stroll for 10th and 11th position. Bottas, Russell, Magnussen's there, Perez, Tsunoda, Smith. They're all having a good old scrap. Gasly's got round De Vries and Sargent in all of that as well. So tons of positions changing in the lower half of the field. And it all seems to be held on by Nico Hülkenberg, who's kind of like the first of Division 2, I would say, behind Alonso is clinging onto the back of Piastri there. So you've got Hülkenberg, Albon, Ocon, Zhou, Stroll, Bottas, Russell. That is Magnussen, about to be done by Sergio Perez, who's now up to 14th position. So right behind George Russell now, who's dropped down to 13th. I'm sure he was ahead of Bottas at one point, not now though. Tsunoda and Smith are there. Gasly now past De Vries and Sargent. 20 tyres remain with Leclerc and Hauger out. And well, Sainz is keeping Norris at bay. Hamilton's watching on, and with his hard tyres, I think he's in the pound seat to be doing something quite interesting and special here, potentially, as the McLaren driver, depending on how this all plays out. That is Alonso getting back past Piastri, though, in a battle for 5th and 6th. And that is Alexander Albon taking Nico Hülkenberg for 7th and 8th. Great move by him. Who else changed position now? I'm sure I saw one. They all seem to have sorted themselves back out to wherever they were before, though, so nothing's stuck. As Verstappen, lap 13, couple of seconds clear, but his soft tyres, I think, are starting to see the end of their dominant life. And there you can see, despite having the medium tyres on, Sainz, Norris and Hamilton, they're not exactly dropping away, are they? Alonso and Piastri having their own little squabble, and here comes Albon versus Ocon. And here's another good indicator, really, because Albon's on soft tyres. Ocon, ooh, squeezes through, and look, it is 7th place down to about 17th, all in a giant line. Absolutely crazy. Here they come filtering through. Ocon, Albon, Hülkenberg, Zhou, Stroll, Bottas, Russell, Perez, Magnussen, Smith, Tsunoda, all together in one ginormous clump. And here's another clump for the podium slots. Sainz now under attack from Norris and Hamilton down to turn 13. That acute right angle 90-degree corner, much trickier, I think, now that it's opened it up with that inside curb these days. And look, Ocon really having to defend from the fast in a straight line Albon, but Albon very slow around that corner. I don't know if he's got a problem or if he's bonked his wing or something. It looks intact, but it's very, very tricky as the field kind of all squabble their way around. Smith there seems to have gone off or dropped some seconds there because he's lost the back of that train. But here comes George Russell on Valtteri Bottas. Bottas trying desperately to hold on, hangs George Russell out to dry in the battle for 12th, 13th. Perez is there in 14th. They're all looking one way or another. Magnussen's getting his nose in too. Tsunoda keeps a watching brief. And look, Perez is about to be done by Magnussen because he was wrong-footed there. Hard tyres versus soft, and look at how slow it makes you when you're busy squabbling and battling away. The entire field, ooh, Smith there nearly doing the exact same thing that took out his teammate earlier on, survives it this time though. And this is all just allowing Max Verstappen to waltz away up front. Sainz has a little bit of a gap here, but look, here comes Lewis Hamilton onto Lando Norris, and is he going to be wrong-footed? Oh, he is, but Norris gets a good traction out of the corner and stays ahead. Again, the outside line run turn 13 seems to really work well for a lot of people. And well, Ocon's now got clear of Albon. Albon, I think, is starting to slow people up because the soft tyres, I think, have probably conked out. So let's see as the field crossover. Is that... No, it's not. I thought Norris was having a look at signs. He's not. Oh, we've got someone into the pits. That's Kevin Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda. And I think that's Pierre Gasly in the background. So early pit stoppers going through. And I think this is going to be the key here because we've got so many different strategies going on. What's going on for here? So that's Tsunoda putting on another load of softs, as is Kevin Magnussen as well. Oh, I thought Gasly went through. Oh, well. Oh, it was Sargent, sorry, in the Williams. So Logan Sargent also comes out in soft tyres. So they're going for a feisty, speedy sprint. As I think Norris under attack now from Lewis Hamilton. Both Mercedes-shod engines in the back, or power units, dare we say. And it looks like Carlos is free from problems this time, but we'll see how that goes in the future. Alonso, that looks deep, but he's kept it against Piastri. Ocon, there you can see, really has now pulled out a little margin over Albon, who's holding up everyone with the soft tyres. Hulkenberg looks like he's going around the outside. He's got much better traction in the Haas, moves up into position. Who's that? That's Verstappen in the pits from the lead. And that's Hamilton in from hard tyres. Oh, that's taken a while for them to get it off. Soft tyres back on again. A long stop there for Hamilton. Alonso also in with hard tyres. What's going on? Really surprising strategies here. So here's Verstappen back out again. Oh, he's right into the middle of the thick of the traffic. Carlos Sainz then leads the way from Norris, Piastri, Ocon. But look, Hulkenberg, there's Verstappen back out again. He's battling with Albon and Zhou, having a squabble side by side. Zhou then gets up into 7th position. This looks absolutely nasty, as about 8 cars all have a squabble for position. Really, really tricky behaviour as Verstappen able to pull away. But I think we've got some drivers who are just really, really slow at the moment, as more and more cars have come into the pits. So Hamilton pitted there and got out and stayed ahead of Alonso, but that gap did reduce. Magnussen, Tsunoda, Gasly, Sargent, De Vries was the other pit stopper who rejoined in last position for the time being. But here we go, round again. Some really interesting stops there. I wasn't expecting the hard-tyred runners to pit so early. So Sainz and Norris continue round another go, as does Piastri. This looks like there's changes going on in positions, as Zhou then up into 7th in the Alfa Romeo. Is he pitting? No, neither does Albon or Russell or Stroll. There's Smith into a 12th in the back marker brigade ahead of Bottas. Hamilton's at the back of this. Oh, it's Hulkenberg into the pits in the Haas. So he had a bit of clear air at the front of that squabble. And I think there's another squabble going on. It's Albon versus Zhou for what is now 6th position. And look behind, it's Russell and Perez. They've been inseparable all race. And Perez gets through. This has worked. The hard tyre versus the soft tyre. I wonder if this is now, because they're all squabbling so much, actually costing them too much time. Ooh, look at just how slow they are and how quickly Albon has pulled away from Zhou. I wonder if Zhou's got some kind of problem or if he's damaged his wing. He's really, really slow at the moment. And a massive cacophony of cars cramped up behind him. Is that Verstappen getting past Ocon for 4th and 5th position? It is. Verstappen on hard tyres. That's a bold but very good choice, I think, for him at the minute. As Sainz and Norris work together and stay ahead. Piastri stays out in 3rd. So Verstappen then to 4. Ocon to 5. Ooh, this looks dramatic further back. It's Perez then who's got ahead of Zhou, who's got ahead of Russell. There's Smith in 10th place. Everyone staying out. Stroll, Hamilton and Alonso. And Hamilton and Alonso are the ones that are key here because they want to try and get past these yet to pitters and get through. Here comes Hamilton immediately past Zhou. That looks like Russell's having a go. Sorry, at Zhou for 8th and 9th. Let's look at how quickly Perez has scrabbled away. Oh, and there's yellow. Oh, hello. Something's gone on wrong here. What happened there? What a bizarre incident. So this is Stroll versus Hamilton. All of a sudden, oh, so Bottas in trouble. Let's take a little look. So here we are. Bottas just seems to lose it. Doesn't hit anyone until he hits Stroll. And Lance Stroll out of the race. Absolutely crazy stuff going on there. Now, why was that going on? So, we've got Stroll and Hamilton battling away. Oh, see, there's yellow flags going on already. Is that what caused Bottas to spin and then Stroll just smashes into the back of him in the the Aston Martin? Oh, there's a car parked up. Who's the car parking up? It's Perez! Our championship leader is out of the race. Was that just a puff of smoke and a retirement? Yeah, look. He just pulls over and conks out. That triggers the yellow flag, which triggers the Bottas spin, which Stroll then smashes into and eliminates himself from. And we've got two cars stranded on the track. Safety cars out. Once again. Wow. This is absolutely crazy. Now, with Sainz and Norris and Piastri, they've not pitted. Verstappen now into 4. Ocon, Albon's not pitted. Zhou hasn't pitted. Neither is Smith. Or Russell, actually, for that fact. So these people are going to start to get free pit stops, potentially, depending on who wants to do what where. So into the pits, then, comes Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris. Is Piastri coming in? Yes. Looks like there's enough of a gap for McLaren to be able to double stack. Who's going to get out first? It is going to be Sainz who gets out ahead. Yeah, you can see. Oh, no, Norris! Leapfrog Sainz in the pit stops. That's crazy. Is Verstappen going to hold the lead actually overall? Yes, he is. So Verstappen takes the lead. Norris then rejoins in second. Sainz is in third. Here's Piastri coming back out again in 4th place. So nice free pit stop for him, gets him out into a great position. Ocon could be a big winner here, or is he? Through goes Hamilton, through goes Alonso into 5 and 6. Ocon rejoins in 7, that is a net win for him. Magnussen then comes up to 8. Tsunoda to 9, Gasly to 10, Logan Sargent in 11th, Hulkenberg 12, then De Vries, Albon. And look, into the pits had come George Russell, Guan Yu Zhou, Simon Smith, Valtteri Bottas. Well, I thought they were going to get some great stops, but they've all ended up at the back of the field because hardly anyone else pitted. So I'm not really sure if that's worked out in their favour or not. It's a magical mystery door. It's a me, Mario. So, safety car out for the second time. Lap 19. We're only a third of the way through the race. Jesus Christ. And it is Verstappen, Norris, Sainz, Piastri, Hamilton, Alonso, Ocon, Magnussen, Tsunoda and Gasly, your point scorers at the minute. With Sargent and Hulkenberg, De Vries, Albon. There's George Russell just going through the frame now. Followed by Zhou and Smith. I think we'll get Bottas through in a second. Indeed we will. The last of our runners and riders. At the moment, what a crazy race. To take a breath. Safety car lights, I was going to say gone out then, but no, they're on still at the minute. So plenty to go. What tyres are everyone on? So Verstappen's on hards, mediums for Norris, hards for Sainz, medium Piastri, softs Hamilton, soft Alonso. Remember they've done hards already. Ocon on mediums, Magnussen soft, Tsunoda soft, Gasly soft, as is Sargent and Hulkenberg, De Vries. Albon on mediums, as is Russell, Zhou on softs, Smith on mediums, and Bottas on softs. So with our championship leader out of the race, this is all for Verstappen and everyone else in the field to make some huge gains on the Mexican, who was the championship leader coming into this race. I'll be shocked, if not absolutely stunned, if he's still the leader, sorry, coming back out of it again. So I would say we've probably got, you can see the safety car starting to pull away now. I think we're gearing ourselves up for another safety car restart, lap 20 of 58. Let's see how it goes. Okay. So the interesting one here is that Verstappen's obviously on the slowest tyre. So this could make him vulnerable. He's in a Red Bull. Mind you, we expected him to dominate, and Perez has won both the races, haven't we? So let's not say anything too much. As they restart away again, this looks nice and straightforward down into turn one, although Norris is very close behind, actually. So as the field make their way through quite nicely, I think we're all okay. And it is there, Norris keeping Verstappen very honest. Don't think anyone's going for an immediate overtake. I tell a lie. That is George Russell having a go at Alexander Albon and taking 14th position, immediately away from the Williams driver. So that's worked out very nicely for him. Up front then, it is Verstappen, Norris and Sainz leading the way. The sole Ferrari clinging onto a podium. He's always been on the harder tyre compared to most of the people that he's been battling around him, and the same applies here. But look at Lando Norris immediately onto the back of Max Verstappen. This is promising in terms of tyre wars, so let's see how we get on. Alonso there in 6th. I think will be an interesting watching brief as well. Ooh, does that look like Smith and Bottas having a little squabble? Smith stays ahead, and Norris immediately into the wheel tracks of the Red Bull driver as the sun pokes its nose through the clouds just about. Gotta love a bit of lens flare in a game. Down into turn 3. Sainz there not able to cope with him. Obviously he's on the hard tyre, so I think that's probably causing a bit of problem. As that is Albon versus Russell again. This is surprising, as Russell's not able to keep Albon behind, and through he goes as the Alphas and Smith battle away for the wooden spoon places. Verstappen stalked by the McLaren at the minute of Lando Norris through the fast chicane. Sainz is keeping Piastri and Hamilton at bay, so that should be interesting too. Yeah, this is looking... They're splitting off into little mini groups, but actually it doesn't look too bad at the moment for people. As Norris keeps a watching brief. Lap 23 of 58. And Sainz, well, it's the McLaren stalking duo, isn't it? Because one's stalking a Red Bull, one's stalking a Ferrari. As always with strategy, it swings and roundabouts because you're never quite sure exactly how everyone is going to play out. Albon versus Russell, take 3 down at turn 3, and this time it looks like Russell's got through. Smith's got round Guan Yu Zhou as well, who seems to be again a bit slow, so not entirely sure what's happening with that Alpha. Speed in some places and then quite off the pace in others. So, and Bottas has just got past his teammate as well. So, yeah, something not quite right there at the back of the field. Those Alphas not really firing on all cylinders. Norris is, though, with DRS firing on all cylinders round the outside. As he does that to Verstappen, Piastri's trying to do the same thing to Sainz. Is Piastri going to take third? He is. Is Norris taking the lead? He is. Beautifully done. Synchronised overtaking by the McLarens to move up positions. That has worked out beautifully for him. Looks like Hulkenberg's got round Logan Sargent, or vice versa. De Vries and Russell were squabbling away there as well. But up front, Norris then leads a lap again for McLaren. Who would have thought we'd have been seeing this year? Beautifully done from the Englishman in the orange arrows. Well, the orange McLaren. If you're an F1 fan from the 2000s, you'll know exactly what the orange arrows really are. And with Piastri now ahead of Sainz, it'll be interesting to see if he's able to pull away, because that will really show the tyre offset. Hamilton now on soft tyres, not really making as much of headway as I thought he would. He's kind of had to follow Piastri around. I was wondering whether or not he'd be able to do much now that Sainz is out of reach. But the DRS, it is a real DRS train round the back straight, because you just suck back onto the back of each other, and the same's happening here for the lead. Verstappen versus Norris. Round the outside he goes, side by side on the way out, and look, Sainz has just done what Verstappen's done as well, and it's just a switcheroo position. Alonso's got Ocon for company. That looks like Gasly has got round Yuki Tsunoda, so that's Alpine versus AlphaTauri, which doesn't surprise me. The AlphaTauri is the second slowest car in terms of performance. And there is the other AlphaTauri trying to hold off a Mercedes, which is a valiant effort, it must be said. He somehow managed it, since he's been battling with the Williams as well. And yeah, look. So, yeah, Verstappen and Norris have been pulling away. Piastri's got a tiny gap over Sainz, but Sainz is able to kind of cling on to the back thanks to DRS. Here comes Hamilton now. Is he looking a little bit like he desperately wants to get through? I think the answer is yes. Now, Sainz is still within 1 second, I think, for DRS. Let's see if it opens. Yes, it does. I think that will... Oh, it closed again. How bizarre. So Sainz's DRS closed there. It's open again now. Here comes Hamilton. Again puts a wheel on the grass as he's trying to overtake, but I think that's allowed Sainz to stay ahead for now. Indeed it has. Alonso is there right behind it. It's Magnussen. There's Tsunoda versus Gasly. Well, that was a take two we didn't necessarily expect, but has happened. Hulkenberg, Sargent, Russell has got past Nick de Vries, which I think is a crucial move. That gets him up to 13th. Not making huge progress, George Russell, really, is he? Oh, hello. What was that going on? That is down at turn 1. I don't think we was expecting Sainz versus Hamilton down at turn 1. We've barely seen any overtakes down there, but Hamilton nearly had him. A surprise move, really. Alonso, Ocon and Magnussen. Magnussen there being very sneaky, has pulled up onto the back in 8th position. You wouldn't expect the Haas driver really to be battling with Ferraris, Mercedes and Astons outright. But this is the thing with DRS around this circuit. You're able to just cling on to the back of things, and as you battle, you lose so much time around this circuit. You can just claw in a second and then just cling on to the back with DRS, which is what Magnussen's doing. Here comes... Oh, Norris has taken the lead. Apologies for that. There is Hamilton getting round Sainz for 4th and 5th position. That's a crucial move, and that looks like George Russell has got round Logan Sargent. Albon has got round De Vries, all at the same time. So lots of swaps of position on lap 27 as we begin lap 27, sorry. Norris then and Verstappen. They've got a good gap, haven't they? And with Piastri now well clear, they can see Hamilton now pulling clear from Sainz. Fernando Alonso will want to do the next move. Maybe it's just Sainz struggling somewhat, as here's Tsunoda with a big bottle cork. Now that Gasly is pulled away, it's really tight and squabbly in the midfield as Sargent has again got ahead of Russell. What is going on with Russell trying to overtake Williams drivers? He's in a Williams sandwich. Sargent ahead, Albon behind. They're not the people that you'd normally be expecting to battle in a Mercedes, but he's just struggling to do much about them. Looks like he could get them this time though, going around the outside. Side by side into the chicane. I don't fancy this one little bit. Russell backs out of it. Logan Sargent holds on for the time being. Good move by him. Here comes Alonso on Sainz. Lovely stuff from the Spaniard on the Spaniard. So that worked out well for him. Now, Hülkenberg versus Tsunoda. Looks like the Haas driver's trying to try and get through. Oh, the AlphaTauri fights back into the final corner though. Hülkenberg gets ahead, and that actually really wrong-foots Yuki Tsunoda. And now look at the absolute squabble that's going on behind, because now Russell wants to have a go. Is he going to try and get down the outside? This could be nasty. Oh, George Russell forces his way through. There's Tsunoda, and that kind of concertina wrong-footing effect has now let De Vries and Smith join onto the back. And there's Smith diving through, taking one Williams and a second. Moving into 13th position. Beautiful move from the backmarker brigade driver. Not really got the car to be there, but again, it's another one of those DRS has saved me things that's going on. As up front, lap 28 of 58. Looks like Norris versus Verstappen again. Here comes Verstappen on the hard tyres, round the outside. And that's a move for the lead. Beautifully done. Piastri now into 3rd. Hamilton well clear in 4. Alonso now in 5. And is this now going to be Ocon having a go at Sainz? Yes, it is. Carlos Sainz now down to 7th position. Kevin Magnussen is having a go now. What has gone on with Carlos Sainz? He's just lost all tyres altogether, and indeed there is Magnussen in the pits, so he's the first one to stop of this next round, and that's probably quite key. In fact, there's a few in, so you can see through goes Gasly, Russell, Hülkenberg, Smith, Albon, De Vries, Bottas and Zhou. So there's Magnussen back out. What's he out on? Soft tyres again, so that's bold strategy there from the Haas driver. Tsunoda and Sargent have all been in. Back out again on softs. Sargent's had plenty of pit stops in that Williams. Now back out, sadly, in last position for the time being. Verstappen's got enough of a gap over Norris that there's not going to be a drama here this lap around. But wow, what's happened to Carlos Sainz in that Ferrari? He's dropped so much time. Maybe he's bumped a wing, or he's just got something slightly unsettled, might have hit the floor or something like that. It's not looking good. Gasly in 8th is closing him down. Russell, Hülkenberg, there's Smith, Albon, De Vries, Bottas. Zhou running quite slowly. I think he's probably got a damaged wing himself. Who's in the pits this time around? It's Pierre Gasly. Remember, he changed his front wing at the end of lap 1. Now running nicely in the points before that stop anyway. Oh, we had to hold there for Nick De Vries coming in. But out on medium tyres, here comes Nick De Vries. He comes back out on softs. Where's Magnussen? in relation to all of this. Magnussen stays ahead of Pierre Gasly for the time being, so that's worked out nicely for Kevin Magnussen because that will give him some clean air. Oh, and was that a drama going on? Did they just hit each other? I think they did. Yeah, they did. Look at the bodywork flying off there. I think that was the Alfa Romeo. Sorry, Alpha Tauri, as Sargent and De Vries meet in the corner. Lap 30, Verstappen and Norris continuing on their way. Squabble, squabble, squabble. Alonso's got Ocon for company. Sainz isn't too far behind. So you can see there that I think Alonso's tyres might well have come to an end. And although Norris is having another look at Verstappen, I'll be surprised if that ends up at anything down at turn 3. They look too gapped apart. So there we go. In comes Hamilton. And that looks like Russell versus Sainz. Ooh, little contact between the two. That's not a squabble I was expecting to see a few laps ago. Through goes Hülkenberg, Albon, Smith and Bottas. Hamilton rejoins in 11th place. That's medium tyres. That's Guan Yu Zhou in 12th, yet to pit, but he's got just ahead of Alonso, who's only just ahead of Magnussen. And look, Kevin Magnussen in the Haas having a go at Alonso, who's just come out on fresh mediums, and through he goes. The Haas driver takes the Aston Martin. That's a surprise overtake. And Alonso's a bit buried compared to where he was with Hamilton just a few laps earlier. Those two were nose to tail, not anymore. Big gap. Gasly, Tsunoda, De Vries. Oh, and that, yeah, you can see it must have been Sargent then that ran into problems, because that's a front wing change, clearly, because he's now back out on medium tyres. That's a shame for Logan Sargent. He was doing a good race. As in comes Verstappen, off comes the hard tyres, on goes the mediums. They're not using those hard tyres very long, are they? As Norris and Piastri go through, there is Verstappen. I think he's going to come out just ahead of Ocon, or is Ocon going to get through? Ooh, Ocon gets it just. As there is Sainz and Russell having another squabble going on over 6th and 7th. Sorry, 5th and 6th. Ooh, is there a drama? No, it's not. It's Hülkenberg in the pits. Well, there's a lot going on. That's Alonso trying to get past Guan Yu Zhou. Zhou not really running at the same speed of everyone else in this race at the minute. I think he's got a damaged car, but it's just allowing Alonso to squeeze through. There's Gasly and Tsunoda crowding in on the back there, so we'll see how that kind of all works out. But wow, here we go again. Norris leading the way. Is he coming in this time? Doesn't look like it. Nope. Verstappen then ahead of Ocon. That's worked out for him. And here comes Russell, gets round Sainz for 5th and 6th position. Albon not far behind in 7. There's Smith in 8. There's Hamilton gets past Bottas for 9th and 10th positions. So again, that's worked out not too bad for the Mercedes driver as he comes back through again. Magnussen in 11. There's Alonso. Gasly's now past Zhou. Tsunoda will be next. Hülkenberg, De Vries and Sargent next. But is that anyone else pitting this time around? No, Smith comes around again. But Williams there, clearly having some pace there with Albon in 7th. Closing down on Carlos Sainz's Ferrari, who just, it's not working for whatever reason. If that's a damaged wing or a damaged floor, just the tyres not working in the window. That Ferrari has dropped like a stone in this section of the race. There we go. Lewis Hamilton closes onto the back of the backmarker brigade driver, who has no DRS. Now you can see immediately he's onto the back of him. Gets a little squabble of DRS. Pulls out. Dives immediately through and up into 8th position for the Mercedes driver. There is Fernando Alonso versus Pierre Gasly. Both medium tyre drivers, so that's a proper position swap. Oh, look at this drama that's gone on. What's that going on there? Let's take a little replay, because that was 3 into 1. So this is Zhou, Tsunoda and Hülkenberg. Tsunoda goes round the outside. Hülkenberg dives in the middle. Ooh, they do connect slightly there, and I think that's caused problems for Zhou and potentially Hülkenberg as well. De Vries desperately trying to work out which way to go. Much better showing this race from De Vries, keeping up with his teammate. But with Tsunoda now off and away, Hülkenberg and De Vries now need to try and get past Zhou. And there is De Vries taking Nico Hülkenberg down into turn 1, or is he? Ooh, a little bit nasty there. Held on for now. So, a McLaren 1-2. What a crazy time. Let's see how this all works out for the English team. Piastri keeping Norris honest, both on medium tyres, with Verstappen closing them down no doubt at the same time. And I think, is that Magnussen there has just got past Bottas? Yes, he has. Kevin Magnussen gets round the Alfa Romeo driver down the inside, not favouring the usual outsider manoeuvre. You have to say there, Alex Albon is closing down Carlos Sainz, who has really mucked up that turn. And look at that, just demonstrates just how much time you lose when you're battling. It really does. So you can see the battle towards the rear of the field really heating up. Lap 35 of 58 then. Let's see how we get on. There is Lewis Hamilton then onto the back of Alexander Albon. Hamilton really on a run on these medium tyres. That's not to say that Albon isn't, because he's closing down on Sainz's hard-tyred Ferrari, but this has just worked beautifully for Lewis to kind of cling onto the back. Ooh, that was braking on the grass there for Smith. I'm surprised he managed to hold that one on. Bottas, Gasly, Alonso. This has really fallen away there for Alonso down in 13th, as there is Hülkenberg getting past Zhou, and that is Carlos Sainz into the pits. He wants rid of those hard tyres. On with the mediums, and that'll probably make him rejoin 14th place. So Carlos Sainz really off the grid. I don't know how this race is going to work out for anyone, to be quite honest. It's looking very confusing. There we go. Oh, something's gone on down the back. That was De Vries, wasn't it? Trying to get past Zhou. So, still the McLaren stay out front. As this looks like Valtteri Bottas is under attack from Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly. And look at how immediately Fernando Alonso just pulls out and is going to dive straight through, get his Aston Martin back up into the points again. But he's lost so much time to Lewis Hamilton in this part. And look at Gasly immediately through. Bottas just absolutely frightened off the road, frankly. in that car. De Vries doing the same with teammate Zhou, so the Alfa Romeo is really having an embarrassing run. Not working out well for them at all at the moment. As into lap 37 we go. I wonder what Carlos Sainz is going to do with 14th. It's got to play out better for him now that he's on medium tyres, unless the car is just in trouble, which you never quite know. Here's Esteban Ocon in 4th, George Russell in 5th. Ocon, we've barely seen him in a lot of this race, but he's been quietly plodding away in the very high echelons of the order quite often. But it looks like he might be relieved of 4th position from George Russell, who has spent an awful long time trying to get himself up into this type of position. But he's got there now, and 4th for the Englishman. Well done. Eventually getting there. Oh, and then immediately coming into the pits. Uh-oh. So, George Russell into the pits for the Mercedes. That's soft tyres going on. Through into 5th position goes Lewis Hamilton. Alexander Albon will be into 6th. Kevin Magnussen will move up into 7. Here's George Russell in 8th. Is Simon Smith going to get through? Yes, he is. Smith yet to pit. So that position's not quite really 8th place. But then we've got Alonso, Gasly. Oh, and there's Fernando Alonso immediately just getting past the back marker brigade driver. Into 8th, Gasly in 10th. There's Russell. Sonoda's got round Bottas. We didn't see that one. Sainz, Hulkenberg, De Vries, Zhou and Sargent, who is still on the lead lap despite having that nose cone change. And here's the interesting one. Verstappen, he's homing in on Oscar Piastri, isn't he? Now we know those McLarens are, of course, towards probably the end of their tyre life, as I think, is that Gasly getting past Smith? Yes, he is, on the DRS as well. So clearly Smith there not quite got the ooh, and that's not quite how you do that chicane. Uh-oh. All my driving getting exposed. Oh dear. I found that turn 13 to be so slippery, and that is... Let's take a look at this again, because we don't see much down at turn 3 these days. But Verstappen has got Piastri up into 2nd. Goes the Red Bull driver. That is a crucial move for him. Ocon, Hamilton, Magnussen. Oh, it's because Albon's in the pits in the Williams. So that is medium tyres coming off. Soft tyres going on. And that is George Russell getting past Simon Smith. So Russell to 9, Smith down to 10, and it's Bottas. Here's Sainz versus Bottas. Oh, and round goes Valtteri Bottas, and that is Hulkenberg into him, and that's a huge crash. Oh, and Albon into the back of him. Oh my goodness me. And this has brought out the red flag, I believe. So what happened here? So this was, let's take a look at it again. So Valtteri Bottas, soft tyres, towards the end of his stint, you would probably say on these, trying to outdo himself versus Sainz, clips Carlos Sainz, and then Hulkenberg just smashes into the side of him, Albon into the back of him as well. Oh dear. What did Hulkenberg see of the event? Didn't really try, and Albon just doing a little pop at the end. Didn't kind of work. So again, let's just take a little look at this from Carlos Sainz's perspective. Was there a touch? If there was, it was the tiniest. No, there wasn't, was there? But there was a touch there, but not between the two. And wow, what a shame there. Then Albon boinging into the back. De Vries there manages to get round everyone. What a mess. So, safety car out. There was Zhou in the pits already, and then that caused us a nice little red flag. So, What does this do? This puts Norris on the pole for the restart on lap 41 of 58. Ahead of Verstappen, Piastri, Ocon, Hamilton, Magnussen, Alonso, Gasly, Russell, Smith, Tsunoda, Sainz, De Vries, Albon, Zhou and Sargent. 16 remain. Let's take a look at what the tyres are. Norris is starting on hards. Verstappen's on softs. Hards for Piastri, hards for Ocon. I think is that hards? No, it's soft, sorry, for Hamilton. Mediums Magnussen, soft Alonso, medium Gasly, soft Russell, soft Smith, medium Tsunoda, soft Sainz, medium De Vries, soft Albon, medium Zhou, medium Sargent. And the reason for this is that it's exactly at the crossover where the softs have gone too far, the mediums haven't quite caught up yet. The mediums are great and the hards haven't quite caught up yet. So this has all the hallmarks of being an absolutely chaotic final 17 laps of what has already been a frankly chaotic Grand Prix. Okay, for the restart then, let's watch the lights and see what happens. We are off and away for round 2, and that is someone going very slowly. It's Hamilton, I think. Is Hamilton just conked out? I think he has, you know. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton's not really going anywhere. What has happened to the Mercedes driver? He's parked up immediately. Is he? Yeah, he has, look. He's parked up immediately. What is the drama there for Hamilton? Let's go on board with him and see how what unfolded. So, as the lights go out, he just doesn't get any drive. Through goes an awful lot of cars. He's held up his teammate and a few other people behind. Zhou, they're getting absolutely balked in the Alfa Romeo and eventually moves out of the way. But with Hamilton then out of the race, that has allowed Norris and Piastri to leapfrog Verstappen. Magnussen is up to 4th in the Haas. Then it's Alonso, Ocon. There's Simon Smith on the soft tyres, making a great start ahead of Gasly, Sainz, Tsunoda, Albon, Russell, Sargent and De Vries, with Zhou 15th and last. And there is Hamilton out of the race already. Whew, what a start. Absolutely crazy. The left-hand side of the grid got really compromised with Hamilton conking out, allowing the right-hand side to really get to grips with it. So we've got cars really out of position. Magnussen in 4th in the Haas doing an absolutely sterling effort. What can he do from there with medium tyres as well? That's probably the perfect strategy, if I'm honest. So, Verstappen versus Piastri. He can't do anything. Here's Alonso having a go, though, at Magnussen. Alonso goes up into 4th position. That's crucial for him. There's Ocon. That's Gasly retaking 7th position from Simon Smith. Sainz is next. Then it's Tsunoda, Albon, Russell, Sargent, De Vries and Zhou are your runners and riders as we start lap 42. 16 to go then. What can McLaren do? Can they hold off Verstappen now in a clean fight for a 1-2? It'll be a massive effort if they do, as that is Smith holding off Sainz just about as the field ping their way round turn 1 down to turn 3. Nothing doing for anyone here at the moment. That looks like Albon's having a go at Russell for 11th and 12th. It's Russell taking Albon for 11th position. So that is a change that has worked out for the Englishman. But suddenly there, Mercedes, Hamilton was looking really poised for a great result. He's now retired and dropped out Russell down out of the points as a result. So Verstappen, here he is onto the back of Oscar Piastri. No DRS yet. What will happen? Oh, Verstappen looking one way, looking the other. Neither worked. There's the two Alpines in 6th and 7th. This could be beautiful for them as Sainz gets past Simon Smith. And what was that going on? That was De Vries and Zhou nearly swapping positions. As Russell got past Tsunoda for 10th as well. That was the other change that happened there. As Piastri desperately trying to work out what to do and what not to do. As here's the Alpines going war to war. They don't want to do that, surely. But no, Ocon stays ahead of Gasly. That's Smith there, nearly looking like he's lost it. Oh, yeah, very squirrely, and I think that will allow George Russell through. Indeed it does. Up into 9th place, Smith tries last of the late breakers. Oh, that was a bit rude, but he's kept 9th for the time being. Albon and Sargent go wheel to wheel over 12th and 13th. De Vries and Zhou just behind, and that is Verstappen getting past Piastri. That's an unusual place to do a move. How did this happen? Oh, Piastri made a mistake. Piastri ran out wide. That was a disaster for him. And look, that's allowed Fernando Alonso to get immediately onto the back of him. Soft versus hard-tired runners. DRS immediately on. And look, Alonso's going to muscle his way through, is he? Yes, he is. Alonso moves up into 3rd position. Soft tyres. This is exactly the kind of thing that the Spaniard, the veteran, can really take advantage of. Piastri cracked under pressure and dropped from 2nd to 4th. That is a huge mistake for him. Magnussen's right there. There's Gasly and Ocon still squabbling away. That's causing Sainz all kinds of fun because he can join up onto the back of him again. Everyone else squabbling away. And the more that these Alpines... Did they just hit there? I hope they did not, as Gasly retakes 6th position. That's put Ocon at a real disadvantage. And suddenly Sainz and Russell are looking like they fancy having a go at the Alpines. They need to stop fighting and focus on the points. And look, Sainz round the outside. That's a beautiful move from the Ferrari driver. And as they all hold each other up again, that's allowed Smith, Tsunoda and Albon to all come together in a massive squabble for position. Who's doing what where? Well, Russell gets round Ocon for 8th position. Ocon drops to 9. Smith's in 10. Then it's Tsunoda, Albon, Sargent, De Vries and Zhou. And it should be said, really, that it's because Ocon is on hard tyres. So I think he's just holding people up whilst he's trying to get those tyres up to temperature. Even Smith there having a little look. Could Backmarker Brigade truly get a point? That'd be... mega upset and shock if they do, considering they're not upgrading their car all year. And I'm a bit of a crap driver, but there we go. So Piastri not able to keep with Alonso. That's huge. Look at Alonso, soft tyres. He's caught up onto the back of Verstappen. They've all got DRS on Lando Norris, who leads the way in the McLaren. Can McLaren dream of a win? He's on hard tyres. Yes, he'll get the rubber the green of this towards the end of the stint. But he's still ahead of the soft-tyred runners now. So this is really crucial. If Verstappen wants to get the lead, is to get the advantage quite quickly and do the job quick. Because he needs to kind of get that 1 second advantage out. As that is Smith versus Tsunoda for 10 and 11. Smith keeps it for the time being. And here comes Max Verstappen then onto the back. Oh, wow. DRS and ERS and a huge boost sees Max Verstappen blast pass into the lead. That was like candy from a baby, sadly. And of all the overtakes that's taken place, that's probably the easiest one that Verstappen's done all race. Probably the easiest one that's happened all race. Keeps the position. Norris then has now got to think, do I battle Verstappen or do I battle Alonso? Because that Aston Martin has come alive. Piastri there, Magnussen in 5th, having a fantastic run. Then it's Gasly and Russell behind Sainz. There's Ocon. Smith then in 10th place, running slightly wide and taking a bit of a shallow run in. I think that might cause him problems. There is Sainz, Gasly, Russell. Yeah, and look, here we go. Ooh, that's Albon having a go at Tsunoda. Couldn't quite do it. Sargent's keeping a watching brief, as is De Vries and Zhou. This last kind of 7 drivers are all battling over what are 2 points paying positions, and that looks like Zhou's having a go at De Vries. And the Chinese driver gets past the Dutchman in the battle for 14th and 15th. Verstappen then pulling away. Norris does have DRS just about, and I think that might have saved him. Here we are on board with the Spaniard. He's not quite sure where to go, is he? One way or the other. Piastri is keeping Magnussen very much in DRS tow. Sainz now ahead of Gasly, dragging Gasly along for the ride, and that looked very slow coming out of that corner for Smith, Tsunoda, Albon, Sargent, Zhou and De Vries. And that's, I think, given Esteban Ocon breathing space. Maybe he's got his hard tyres up to temperature. Maybe Smith has burnt through his softs, I'm not sure. But definitely seems to be a bit of a change going on there. And here's a change potentially going on for second place. Is this Alonso trying to go around the outside of Norris? Yes, he is. Has he got the position? Yes, he has. Fernando Alonso moves up into second position. Aston Martin looking like they're getting their first podium of the season. How this continues. It's going to all come down to tyre wear towards the end, but if he can make a scamper whilst he's got the advantage for now, Fernando Alonso could be really putting Aston Martin on the map here. Norris looking interested, as that is Gasly and Russell squabbling away over 7th and 8th. Nearly a change of position, not quite. Kevin Magnussen's done a fine job in that, has to be in 5th. This is looking nasty behind, as that is Albon go. Oh, Smith makes a mistake and Albon gets both Tsunoda and Smith and moves up into 10th place. That's crucial for Williams. Smith's holding up the other 4 drivers as Zhou goes round the outside of Tsunoda and Sargent all at the same time and moves up into 12th. Oh, the 2 Asian drivers look like they might have come together there as Zhou and Tsunoda get a bit nasty. There's Sargent and De Vries all squabbling away. This is looking very, very angry down into turn 1, but De Vries and Sargent keep it just about clean. But that was crucial for Alex Albon, because look, I think Smith has actually dropped out of DRS range for him, so unless Smith can get back in it again, that could well be job done for Alexander Albon into 10th position. Crucial for him. As up front, Verstappen leads the way serenely in that Red Bull. That looks like a change for George Russell getting round Pierre Gasly. Is he going to hold it? Yes, he is. A Mercedes driver also then gets the DRS obviously after that move too, which will help him stay ahead. As look, Piastri under attack from Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen's on the medium tyres, which I think is the best tyre for what was this strategy stint. So we'll see what... Oh, crikey, it's all kicking off behind here in the 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th and 15th places. Right, little squabble. Ooh, that looked nasty there from Smith. Getting tyres on the grass, and look at how much time he's dropped for Albon already. Through goes Guan Yu Zhou up into 11th place. And that's kind of sorted that out, I think, for the time being. Sargent gets round Tsunoda for 13th and 14th. Real hearty squabbling. Now both Alpha Tauri's find themselves at the back of the field. That's not worked out well for him at all. As Smith there probably judged to have cut the corner. Needs to be careful as they all squabble their way through. Alonso stays ahead of Norris. That's Piastri versus Magnussen now, and I think Kevin Magnussen is going to get through. Yes, he does. Magnussen in the Haas up to 4th position. That is an absolutely stupendous move, frankly. Sargent, I think, has got round Smith in all of this as well down the back end of the field. Yes, he has. So that's worked out well for Logan Sargent. That 50 of 58. We continue to just bang the laps in. Magnussen and Piastri. Their battle is now being joined though by Sainz, Russell and Gasly, so this now has become an interesting, juicy race. Sainz and Russell on soft tyres, as is Gasly's on medium, sorry, so they could burn out quicker. Ocon and Albon follow through. Show Sargent, Smith, Tsunoda and De Vries continue their squabble. And you have to say, Norris is looking like he's on the attack. Is this the time where soft tyres are starting to run out a little bit? Because that is Lando Norris retaking second position back from Fernando Alonso. That is a signal for me that maybe the soft tyres are starting to come towards the end of their performance advantage. So there is Magnussen battling away with Piastri, and Piastri gets through. No, he doesn't. Magnussen holds on back again. Superb move there by Kevin, who is really showing the boldness of the Haas driver. They say he's a difficult one to overtake. Piastri is finding that out quite quickly. There was a lot of change going on further back. Somehow there, Logan Sargent is into 11th place, and there's a gap now back to Smith, Zhou, Tsunoda and... Oh, De Vries is out. What's happened there? Let's take a look. Oh, we've got a problem. So let's dive back and take a wee look at this. So there's Zhou going past Sargent. That's Tsunoda and De Vries getting together, and it looks like they've all kind of caught themselves out a bit. And then, oh, Smith and... Oh, there we go. Well, big problems there. And did he just decide to stop? Yeah, he did. Wow, Nick De Vries, they're just conking out after losing some stuff with suspension. Let's take a look at this. So, yeah, Smith and Zhou get together. Then the tiniest of... Well, not tiniest of touches. We've seen bigger touches this race. But yeah, Nick De Vries must have just clonked the car in a slightly wrong angle. And there he is parking up the AlphaTauri out from what was 15th position. No safety cars, no VSCs or anything like that. We've kept going. But no doubt that will have probably damaged Smith and Zhou for coming together there potentially. I didn't see what happened with Tsunoda. Christ. Tsunoda. But he's just got past Zhou and is up into 13th. So with all the carnage going on at the back of the field, there's Alonso fancying another look at Lando Norris. Interesting. And there is Magnussen versus Piastri. Is Piastri going to get back through again? The Haas driver desperately clinging on for what was fourth, now fifth. But he needs to be careful because Sainz and Russell really are in better cars than that Haas. The Alpine is better than the Haas too. So Magnussen punching well above his weight, but he needs to just try and hold on as best as he can because those soft tyres in theory should be starting to conk out a little bit soon. Although it seems like Alonso's had a second wind, and Carlos Sainz is getting extra wind as well as he moves past Magnussen and up into 5th position. The Haas driver, who's driven an absolutely stunning Grand Prix so far, was looking good for 4th at one point, is now sitting in 6th and may well end up seeing himself in 8th by the time this is all finished, because next up is George Russell to have a go in the Mercedes. What's his ERS like? Not close enough to be able to make a dive bomb. So he certainly stays behind. Tsunoda's got round Smith in all of this. Oh, hello. Norris versus Alonso. Is Alonso going to try and get back through again? Yes, he is. Alonso back into 2nd position. That's huge. Gasly there gets round Russell. Russell was having a go at Magnussen and he's been wrong-footed. That Mercedes has not been where it's needed to be at all this Grand Prix. Very disappointing run there by George as Alonso and Norris continue their squabble away. Verstappen's up the road. He's not tons up the road, but he's far enough up it. And so long as Alonso's able to hold off Norris, remember they're both on not the optimal tyre strategy, I would say, for this, but on different ends of it with the hard and soft. It's an interesting one, but look, Sainz and Piastri now have got a gap over Magnussen. And that kind of, I think, leaves Kevin Magnussen a bit of a sitting duck. So, Norris on Alonso, nothing doing. Sainz on Piastri, nope. And Gasly on Magnussen, no. Oh, but here comes Norris on Alonso. Around the outside once again. Nice clean action between the two. Beautiful move there by Norris and respectful driving from Alonso. Same going on here with Piastri and Sainz, but Sainz is going to have to go around the outside on turn 14. That was a bold move. I thought he was going to pull it off, but it didn't quite work. Gasly's got round Magnussen. That took slightly longer than previously around that turn 13 corner, but it still worked out well for him. Here comes Sainz on Piastri. Is it going to be fourth place? Ooh, no, not quite. Norris keeps Alonso at bay. Piastri, Sainz, Gasly, Magnussen and Russell squabbling away. Ocon and Albon are still 9 and 10. We've not seen much of them. Sargent is in 11th, ahead of Tsunoda. Then it's Smith and Zhou. But yeah, these fragmented little mini battles. Here comes Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. Piastri, last of the late breakers, to try and ease him right the way out to the edge, but it just does not work. And there is Russell now past Magnussen. Oh, what a shame for the Haas driver. Only a few laps ago he was running in 4th position, and then as the other cars all start to steam their way through, he ends up down in P8. But if he's able to hold on to that, because there's a gap back to Ocon. Oh, hello, is that George Russell going around the outside of Gasly? It is. That might have wrong-footed the Alpine driver, maybe giving Magnussen a chance to have a go back. Denied. But that has worked out. It's still good points for the Haas team. They've scored 1 so far in the season opener with Hülkenberg. So this would get Magnussen onto the board if he's able to do so. Here comes Alonso on Norris once again. Down the outside. This is crucial for second position. And once again it's side by side out of turn 13. Alonso ahead now into turn 14. This is great stuff from the Aston Martin and McLaren drivers. It's a real show-stopping performance. Sainz, Piastri, Russell, Gasly, Magnussen, Ocon. And if he gets it, Alexander Albon will get Williams their first point of the year. If he can just hold on there. He's got plenty of a gap actually over Logan Sargent and Yuki Tsunoda, who are squabbling away a couple of seconds apart for 11th and 12th, with Smith and Zhou rounding out the field with their damaged cars. Well, the big battles here then is, can Alonso and Norris, who's going to get second out of those two, seems to be swapping all the time. Will Sainz be able to hold off Piastri now that they've got a little bit of a gap? And I think it looks like Magnussen's starting to be dropped by Gasly and Russell as they kind of spread themselves out a wee bit. So Let's dive on board with the McLaren driver of Lando Norris through the fast chicane. Immediately onto the DRS. Not close enough this time. It often takes like a 2 to 3 lap attack for these two to really get it sorted out nicely. And you can see Piastri wasn't able to do the same for Sainz, but through they go to start what will be the penultimate lap. And here is the race leader, Max Verstappen. He's not had it easy. It's been a chaotic race, but he's done the overtakes and made it work, getting past both McLarens several times to make it a satisfying win. That car looks very dirty as well, so you can see he's definitely been battling away quite happily. Piastri certainly staying in the wheel tracks of Sainz. Norris doing the same for Alonso. In fact, he's right up onto the back of him. This looks interesting for a turn 13 lunge potentially. And knowing what I was saying earlier on about it taking 2 to 3 laps for an attack, if Norris does this now and gets it successfully done, ooh, I'm surprised he was able to do that and row right the way around the outside of the Spaniard. Beautiful move again from Norris up into second from Alonso. Sainz holds off Piastri. Russell's kept Gasly and Magnussen in their tow, but no, not necessarily battling away, and Ocon and Albon are kind of just doing their own little thing. So that's that. There is Max. This will put him, of course, in the championship lead, assuming that he gets across the line to win the Australian Grand Prix. Of course, don't want commentator's curse in there. And that's looking very DRS-able for Alonso. But as we've said, it's not very often that you're able to do something the very next lap. It requires a bit of ERS charge to be able to dive straight back in again. But here comes Alonso on the DRS, right up onto the back of Norris. If he's going to do it, now's the time. And look, Norris defends. Alonso didn't dive for the inside. He tried to keep the outside, so he's not been able to do it. And that means that Max Verstappen is able to come round the final corner and take victory here at the Australian Grand Prix. Beautifully driven, expert overtakes, excellently done. Second position goes to Lando Norris. Second, his best result of the season so far. And Alonso on the podium gets Aston Martin their first podium in third. Carlos Sainz recovers to fourth ahead of Oscar Piastri in 5. Russell 6th from 16th on the grid. Gasly 7, I think will be delighted with points for Alpine. Magnussen, that's a bittersweet 8th, I think, in the Haas, but still very valuable points. Ocon gets 9. Albon 10, wasn't too far off, but that's the first point for Williams, so well done to Alexander Albon. Logan Sargent gets his best result of the season in 11th, ahead of Yuki Tsunoda in 12th, just missing out points yet again in the AlphaTauri. And that's Simon Smith and Guan Yu Zhou in slightly knackered cars coming home in 13th and 14th positions to be the sole finishers of the race. Or the last finishers of the race, sorry. Your retirements there, De Vries and co. And here you can see all the different fastest laps that went on. And how close that all was. And the huge amount of DNFs. An absolutely absurd amount of tyres that's gone on. 4 stops there for Gasly and Sargent. If we look at incidences, obviously Smith getting the 5-second penalty for taking out his teammate Dennis Hauger. Well done. That seems so long ago. Stroll obviously crashing out with his terminal damage. Perez having hit the mechanical failure, then the bizarre Bottas spin that took out Nico Hulkenberg, and then Nick de Vries just kind of conking out at the end of the race and just giving up. Plenty of front wing changes going on as well for Gasly and Smith early on, and then Logan Sargent of course having to change his front wing after the pit lane exit collision. And then interestingly, this is under the red flag, Verstappen changed his wing. I didn't even realise it was damaged. Magnussen changed his, same. Carlos Sainz, that makes so much sense why he was running slow, so he needed to change his wing. And Guan Yu Zhou was the same thing there as well. Albon, Bottas, Hulkenberg. So many wing changes. Oh dear, of course some of those drivers were out, but it comes up as a wing change because they would have done it anyway. So what happens to the standings then? Verstappen takes the lead from teammate Perez. Norris stays in third in the moves into third in the championship ahead of Leclerc and Sainz. Hamilton slips down to sixth with that non-score, and Russell gets a few points to help him out. Alonso, despite, well, he only had a couple of points to his name before this race, now moves up into 8th in the standings with 21 points. Piastri down in 9th. And then the Alpines 11 and 12 there, sorry, 10 and 11, having got a double points finish here in Australia. Magnussen gets himself onto the board in 12th, as does Albon. And that's that. And then you can see 14 drivers have scored. The rest still yet to get off the mark. And in the constructors, it really is a Red Bull field day. Well clear, almost double the points there of Ferrari, with Mercedes, McLaren very close behind. Aston Martin kind of in a land of their own ahead of Alpine. Haas now with 5 points. I think we'll be pleased with that, to have pulled away slightly from Williams, who looked like they had good speed there. With Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri and Backmarker Brigade yet to score. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that absolute car crash fest. I'm sorry for the carnage I caused early on, but I was really pleased with that race. So take care and I'll see you soon.